Hi, my name is Donna Nordin, and I had a restaurant for several years called Café Terra Cotta. I was trained in France at the Cordon Bleu, all classical training. Years ago, when I moved to Arizona, I noticed that I am really in love with some of the ingredients that come up from the South, from Mexico. And so in my restaurant recipes and cooking, I just love the infusion of the Southwest and all those ingredients. Today, I'm going to show you how to use poblano chilies in various ways. So the first thing is to take a poblano chili and roast it. And so the first thing about roasting the chili is that the open flame will give you the best char. If you have to do the method of using your broiler, cut it in half, and put the two halves face down and get it as close to the broiler as possible in order to get the best char. And a outside grill works just fine to get it just as charred as you can, evenly as you can, a little bit more on that side, and then just flip it over. Try to be as even as possible. And once it's completely charred, you'll take it off, pop it into a plastic bag, and let it sweat until the skin starts to separate from the flesh. Okay, so now your chili has sweated. You just take out your roasted chili, remove the skin. Chilies can be very hot or they can be very mild, so you might want to wear a glove so that your fingers are not burned by the heat in the chili. So once you get the skin off all the way around, then open it up and pull the seeds out. You can actually do this underwater in the sink to keep the mess down. Take the top off if it wants to come off. If it doesn't, it adds a little bit to the presentation to have the stem. So just clean this out. And once you have this cleaned out, you're going to have a chili that looks like this. And it's all ready to stuff. Well, now before we go any further, let's check in with Mr. Pickle. He'll be the one to show us how to grow your best poblano.
Thank you, Chef. Today we're going to talk about the poblano plant that you're going to be getting. At my school, we happen to have a mature one here. This is what the plant looks like, and this is a poblano pepper. We do have it on a trellis type thing, so you may think about putting this in or putting something similar just to hold on to it. Here's one that I have that we're going to transplant today. These are warm weather plants. They're going to like the springtime here in the desert. This plant will probably mature in about, I'm thinking about 60 to 70 days because it's already getting ready to flower and produce some fruit. If you can fertilize it, it might help it a little bit. These are pretty good users of the soil, the nutrients in the soil, so if you can fertilize it, it'll help it a lot. Let's go ahead and talk about putting this in. Basically, I'm going to dig a hole, and I'm going to plant this one a little bit deeper than we usually do. In other words, I'm going to plant it a little bit above here. There are sweet peppers. There's hot peppers. This one is more of a southwestern chili. When you plant these, it's going to need about 12 inches from other plants because it's going to spread out a little bit. So I've got it ready to go in. I'm going to flip it over, just give it a light squeeze. It's loose. So I'm going to tickle these roots a little bit so they'll start spreading out. You can tell them to grow outward now. So it's ready to go in. I'm going to set it in the hole. It's a little deeper than it was in the pot. So there we go. Push the soil down just a little bit. Next thing I'll have to do is give it a good drink of water. That's it. So this is the poblano pepper plant, and I'm going to call this one Peppa Pig, the Peppa Pig plant. Anyway, we'll go back to the chef now.
Thanks, Mr. Pickle. So now we're back to making filling for our poblano chili. Now I'm going to use a small onion, and you cut it in half, but you leave the root end on so that it doesn't fall apart. You've got a flat surface to work with. Use knives under adult supervision. And then you give some cross cuts, like so, using your best ability to keep your fingers out of the way. Some horizontal cuts, and then go back with your knuckle up against the blade of the knife, all your other fingers out of the way, and you have your diced onion. Okay, so we have a little bit of that. You could also use green onion. With the green onion, you can just slice it. We'll just combine them today. Any kind of onion works, whatever you have in the house at the time. You've got the onions, a little bit of zucchini diced if you're using that. The roasted butternut squash diced and ready to go. So now you want to heat a little bit of butter, melt it into a small saute pan. Not really interested in browning it, but just to melt it. Onion, go ahead and add the zucchini. It can saute all together. Now it starts to smell really good. It always is good to cook onions in your house. Company's coming and you want it to smell good before they arrive to dinner. You've got the roasted butternut squash. You can add that along with some corn. Nice color going here with the squash, with the corn, with zucchini. So now you mix all those ingredients and let it cool just a bit. Then we're going to add some cheese. Either grate it or buy it already pre-grated. Mix that into the base with your vegetables. Now once it's together, you want to just fill your poblano. So you just put them in like that, kind of wrap it a slight bit. Put a little more cheese on top. And then this is going to go into the oven. We'll take about 4 minutes or so in a very hot oven. Once it comes out of the oven, it should be nice and brown. It should be bubbly. You want the inside to be warmed through. So now we have the finished stuffed poblano. And we're going to take it out, being very careful because it's hot, hot, hot. And then just finish it off with a little bit of nice fresh cilantro. If you really like to doll it up, give it a little bit of color to go along. So now's the time for a taste test. Just be mindful when you start to test it. It might be a little bit hot. So a little taste. Mmm, 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 mmm. Delicious. Mmm.